Pantry, and today I am getting ready to can. I'm probably not going to can this up today. I'm going to can it up tomorrow, but I'm going to get it all prepped and ready. Bloody Mary mix. These are all tomatoes from my garden. Oh, all of those from the garden. And I will be doing this canning session with 4 jars, so don't forget, my link for 4 jars is down below. You can get a 10% discount on your order. Right now we're in the throes of canning season, but you don't want to ever run out of canning lids again, like back in 2020 and 2021. We really suffered through that. Thankfully, I had a lot stocked up and had some other options. So in this canning book, and this is the newest, the all-new Ball Book of Canning and Preserving, on page 203. Look at this book is falling apart. Kind of like Ball. Sorry, but Bloody Mary mix. I've made this and it is delicious. And I'll have to measure out how many quarts of juice to be able to do the recipe correctly and have the correct acidity for the product. Buddy, you don't need to do that. Anyway, so I'm gonna get these tomatoes prepped up. And really all I'm doing, I've already washed them all. So I'm gonna get in here and core these out. And I should get my trash over here. I'm just gonna take these cores out, and literally, if I feel like it, I can cut them in quarters, but the bigger ones, these are gonna cook down into the most amazing tomato juice. And then I'll run them through the food mill and everything will be absolutely wonderful. So that's how I'm doing it. Come on in and I'll show you a little bit more. Okay, so literally go in here with your paring knife and or your tomato knife. That tomato knife though, it's kind of long. It'll slice right through the tomato and get you in the hand. So I am cautious with that. But this Rada tomato knife is amazing. So there's a bad spot at the one end of this tomato. I'm gonna cut that off on all 4 sides and till we just have beautiful tomato flesh. Throw that out, okay? Sometimes you get one that's got a little bruise or something. It's okay to cut it out, right? So throw those pieces in the pot. This is a Cuisinart stock pot. This is a 12 quart. It's typically what I cook my juices down in. It's nice and heavy. I have a link to that in my Amazon store that's down below. It's one of my favorite pots. The Cuisinart stock pots are amazing. They're nice, heavy bottoms, and yeah. And so any blemishes or anything you need to cut off, like the blossom end, if you don't want that, having to get that out through the food mill, you can get that off. Now, can you blanch your tomatoes and peel them? Yes, but why would you do that when you have this beautiful red tomato? The skins are gonna separate off of there and through the food mill and we'll be golden. Okay, so that's exactly how I'm gonna do this. And as soon as I get these all processed and cooked down, I'll show you how I get them through the food mill. Okay guys, so this is the next day, or maybe the day after that. This has been a project. So I got my tomato juice. I got to get my 4 quarts out of the fridge. I already milled that down. I thought I was recording and I wasn't. So that's okay. You're still going to get the gist of it. So the Bloody Mary mix recipe that I'm using is out of this book. It's falling apart, but I think I went over that. Anyways, the all new Book of Canning and Preserving, page 203. To recap, and I wrote down how I'm going to try to get 7 quarts, the measurements that I need. I'm not going to use as much lime juice because I don't want it to just taste like lime. They call for lemon juice, but I'm going to use lime juice, which is 5% acidity, and yep, 5% acidity. And I also am going to add citric acid because, like I said, I want the flavor profile to be perfect, not like too citrusy. So I've got on my breakdown here of what they would call for it, and I need smoked paprika. So I'm gonna get that, and we're just about ready to go here. Get it all in the pot. So guys, I'll be right back. Okay, let's do this. I've got my Ooh, okay, so I went ahead and ran the tomatoes that I cooked down through the food mill, okay? So to get all the seeds and skins and everything. And now it's a thick tomato juice. Good grief. And splashes everywhere, so don't wear a white shirt. Okay. Anyway, put that aside and grab some paper toweling, because that's gonna drive me nuts if I see anything splashed. Okay. And then this one, there's a little over a quart in here, so we're at an honest 4.5 quarts. So if you tip your pan and pour it in, so it's about, this is a 12 quart, so it looks about almost halfway. So we're at an honest 5.5, right? We're gonna throw in the celery. Now, it divides out to a 1.5 cups, but I'm actually doing a little more because it's hard to measure celery. So there's the celery. It's got to go in and cook until that celery is completely soft enough for me to puree. So in that, the lime juice, I wasn't crazy about any of it. So that lemon juice is on it, and you want 5% acidity, whether it's, you know, lime juice or whatever you're using. Now we're gonna need Worcestershire sauce, and literally this is, to me, it's to taste. It calls for 18 tablespoons. Come on, for this amount. So we're gonna I'm literally gonna go by taste. But if I was making a Bloody Mary, it's a fair amount of Worcestershire. So we're gonna go with, let's go with a cup of Worcestershire. Okay, in the pot, down she goes. Pickle juice, woo, my favorite pickles, besides my own, Clausen pickles. And it calls, and this is really kind of a secret ingredient. It calls for, again, 18 tablespoons. I'm gonna do a cup because it makes it delicious. It's also gonna add some acidity to the Bloody Mary mix, so in that goes. So we're almost getting our 3 cups of acidity. Worcestershire has actually got a little acid to it too. And then my horseradish, and I'm not gonna cheap out on the horseradish either. I hope this fits, okay. So this is an 8-ounce container. It calculated out to use 3/4 of a cup. So we're gonna try to get as close to that as possible. And I'll use this horseradish next time I have a steak. I like it, horseradish cream sauce on baked potato. Yeah, this won't, none of this is going to waste. You can overdo the horseradish if you're not careful. I mean, I love it, but it can be strong. And this is a really good horseradish you get in the, right next to the meat counter. Okay, that's about 3/4 of that is in there. Oh yeah. Let's see about the next ingredients. Okay, I think all of our liquids are done. And okay, smoked paprika is 3 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3. See, I just, if I'm heavy, I'm light on the next one. I'm gonna put some, I can't put it in there, cayenne, about, oh, I don't know, half a teaspoon to add a little zippity doo-dah. And you can change those spices up. That will not hurt your canning at all. So hot sauce, it's gonna call for, how much hot sauce? Hot sauce, ooh, 6 tablespoons. Okay, let me get my garlic first. Garlic powder, or I've got granulated garlic. Is garlic, where's my garlic? minced celery juice, garlic. Here we go. 6 tablespoons. No, 6 teaspoons. Okay, well, we're doing tablespoons. We're not doing 6 though. We'll do 3 tablespoons because I like garlic. And then we're gonna do the hot sauce. And you could use Frank's, you could use Tabasco. I'm gonna go with this one. And I wish I could get the stopper out. This also has some acidity because it has vinegar. I am gonna can it for the 40 minutes instead of 35 that it calls for because of the extra celery and not using as much. Well, actually just because of the extra celery, because I really wanted that extra celery in there. And you can have up to 3 cups of, okay, I think this whole little bottle was just perfect, what was left in there. Perfect. And good old Tabasco, you know. Okay, done. And now we've got this garlic powder. Let's get us, I'm not going to use salt. I am going to use, it called for celery seed, but I'm going to use celery salt instead of salt. So where's the salt? I don't like anything too salty. So we're going to, because we get enough salt in our diet, right? For that big pot, just shy of a tablespoon. And then you get that added celery flavor. And, okay, I got that. Black pepper, a teaspoon of black pepper. Let's see. Let's just scoop out what I think is a teaspoon. I love black pepper in it. So, and in the canning process, oh my gosh. Pepper blooms, so it's okay. If you don't like pepper, don't let it bloom. Okay, this is going on the stove. It's probably gonna simmer, and well, it's gonna simmer till that celery is really quite nice and soft, so I can get the immersion blender in there and wazamigate it up. Okay, on the stove it goes. Oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna do a little taste test, even though I can't taste the celery part. I'm glad I didn't add any more lemon juice. Oh man, that's good. That pickle juice, yum. And I can taste the Worcestershire. Okay, we are good to put this on the stove. Okay, I'll be back when we are ready to dry it up. Okay, so as always, when I'm canning now, I'm using 4 jars lids. I think I mentioned that at the beginning, but anyway, so the puree of tomato juice cooked down, and I'm gonna tell you, I added some more. I added tomato, Italian tomato, well, it's a, what did I do? I did Italian Kitchen crushed tomatoes. It was too much, I gotta write notes. It was too much of the lemon juice. I really felt like it was too lemony. I'm not gonna like it, so I cut back, but I want, and everything has acidity in this, but I want everything to be acid approved for canning. So I'm gonna add a half a teaspoon of citric acid, which will not change the flavor of anything, to each quart jar. Okay, if it was a pint, it'd be a quarter of a teaspoon. But I pureed the celery in there and the crushed tomatoes, and it is spot on, delicious. Hot jars out of the canner. Horseradishy, a little bit of dill. It's so good, and it's so good for like you know, if you want a Virgin Bloody Mary on a Sunday morning, or it doesn't matter. Or if you enjoy tomato or red beer, this is awesome in a red beer. So literally 1 inch of headspace. I am not going above that because, well, tomato products tend to swell up. And we're gonna water bath can this for 40 minutes. Now, the recipe says for 35, I think, but I'm doing 40 because of the extra celery in there. It's not a lot, but I'm going to compensate and be safe. According to the National Food Preservation, that would be a safe way to go. So finger tight on your rings and beautiful Bloody Mary mix. Oh my goodness. You can see all the bits and pieces, and it's spicy too. Woohoo! Doggy. Okay, back in the canner, and next jar out, empty it. And then we're going to just rinse and repeat, right? So we're really wiping the rims for any residue. And if you want to stir this, go ahead, but it's pureed up pretty good. It's delicious. I can smell the Worcestershire. Everything is perfect. It just needed a little bit more tomato, and I'm probably going to have more than 7 quarts, to be honest, because that was a large can of crushed tomatoes. But it's okay to do that. If you need to supplement your product, or you don't feel that, like the recipe is quite what you wanted, that's how you do it. Okay. 1 inch of headspace, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Ooh. And oh my gosh, I'm super excited. So, have you done the Bloody Mary mix yet? Because it is delicious. It's super easy. Well, a little labor intensive, but once you're done, you're done. This is more than enough for me for a year. I guarantee it. And it's got that black pepper in there. So good. Okay, into the canner that one goes. And because the weight of the jar, each jar is going to have, it's gonna raise the canning kind of thing, I guess you'd say, the water level, because of the weight of the jar. So that half a teaspoon. I don't want to forget the citric acid and any of them. And then the longer canning time, it's not much longer, but hey, longer canning time for a little bit more celery. Anyway, it's gonna be good. It's actually delicious. And whatever I have left, I'll probably can up tomorrow. If there's enough, I'll can up tomorrow. But it's a great way to use your tomatoes out of the garden, because it is that time of year. We are in the throes of tomatoes and peppers and oh my goodness. So on the 4 jars lids, I have a link down below with my discount code. It's just Linda's Pantry, no apostrophe. On these, I just wash them. I have not really soaked these. I just wash them really good, dry them, and wait. And I have had a great success rate. They're top quality. The sealant is thicker. The metal is thicker, and it's got a nice grippy lid on it. Yeah, in the canner she goes. Oh my goodness. Okay. Empty a jar. Get it over here. There we go. Hot jars, hot liquid, hot everything. Canner's hot, waiting for everything. All right, did I just do that? Goodness, okay. Hopefully, I wiped the rim of that last one. Nothing really can get on it because of the funnel, but you still should. I may have to go back. I know where it is in the canner. And just to be safe. Okay, so this is what I'm doing. I'll let you know in the next clip, maybe, how much I got. Actually, we'll just leave the camera running. Okay. And a lid and a ring, and some of these are the 4 jars rings, which I'm kind of trying to see how well they do. This is a recycle, reuse, and repurpose. This was from a pasta sauce. See the square Atlas jar? Save those, don't throw them away. You get free canning jars with every pasta. Haha. Right? And it's a great amount. love reusing them because, yeah, I get a free jar, and I like the square jars. So that's always a plus too. Okay, we've got citric acid in that one, but not the one in the back. We'll put that in there. All right, so how are you guys liking my new phone? Put in the comments along with if you've canned Bloody Mary mix or not. And you can make Bloody Mary chicken. This can be a soup starter. This can be all kinds of things. It doesn't have to be for Bloody Marys or for a virgin Bloody Mary. Literally, I'll use it for all kinds of things. I have a cabbage soup recipe that I start with this because it's got all the spices. I don't really have to dink around. It's just chop and drop. Okay. Back in the canner. Back in the canner. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I'll be back. I'm gonna process. Once it comes up to a full rolling boil, then I will start my timer and I will process these for 40 minutes. Okay guys, so this went in the canner. Once it came up to a boil and it was good to go, I timed it for 40 minutes, and that's for quarts. I'm doing it because there was so much celery in there compared to the original recipe, and I wanna make sure it's all safe. Tomatoes are just a great product because you can actually cook them longer than you think, but this is going to be a delicious Bloody Mary mix. Look at how beautiful and rich that is. And if you'd like to see me make some other recipes other than a Bloody Mary, let me know and I'll try to get that on my channel for you. So it made 7 quarts plus 2 pints. Those are sitting here on the stove in hot water. So they're gonna go right back in the canner, and I'll can those for 35 minutes. And so we're gonna have some gifts and treats for the next year or so. These would stay on your shelf literally for 2 years easily. So it doesn't last that long around here. So I wanted that lid felt like it was loose, but it really wasn't. So we'll see how 4 jars stand up to this. I'm sure they'll do just fine. I left an inch of headspace, but look at you. I mean, it's at the inch right there. There's no siphoning at all, but the product swells, as it's hot and it swells up, and sometimes it'll swell up above that inch, and you need that gap to make sure that it does okay. So there's the 7 quarts. I'm gonna put the hot jars out of this pot here, these 2 pints, and I'm gonna run those for 30 minutes. So I just filled them up. You can see how hot that is. I just filled them up, and we wanna make sure that they go underwater as well. And there may not be enough water in here to put them under, an inch to 2 inches of hot water. And then I'm gonna run them, I've got hot water in this pot, so that's perfect. I'm gonna run those for 35 minutes, and then we will be done with this canning session. I'll come back with a post-canning chat, and we'll open a jar and I'll do something fun with it, okay? All right. I can't wait to see you next time. I hope you leave a comment. I hope you subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And as always, guys, hit that like button if you like what I'm doing for you, and let me know what you'd like to see next. All right, guys. Bye. Happy Friday.